Welcome back, everyone. We're here with the third round. We've got the undefeated Boros Angels versus the Izzet Wizards. A firm handshake, good sportsmanship here.
Very excited to see if we can have a player come up undefeated this week.
Undefeated.
So our Selesnya player, Justin Gebbing, is undefeated at a different table, playing somebody who has experienced the sting of defeat.
That is true. I believe it is one Luke Browning, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, odds are good that we have an undefeated.
Oh, he's got the Boros sleeves too.
Yeah, he's not trying to hide anything.
He's not trying. See, I've definitely run I played some. I think it was a Boros deck, and I put island sleeves on it.
Oh, you got him.
Just to be coy.
Oh, boy. Someone's like, I bet this guy's playing islands. And you're like, no, sir.
I know I put black sleeves on my green-white deck that I mentioned earlier in the broadcast.
Yeah, I just use slate sleeves for everything.
You do love the slate sleeves.
They're beautiful. Yeah,
they're nice.
We'll get a list for Angels here. I know that the Star City the Classic featured a lot of Angels decks. So
yeah, I mean,
first weekend red deck. Here we go.
Well, I mean, it did two of the best things you can do on week one: be aggressive,
yeah,
and play just as many powerful cards as you can.
Yeah,
like those are two things that you want to do. The original Vehicles deck did that really well. It was aggressive, played the best cards in that set.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that deck.
Huge fan of the double mats. Is that the mat on the clear side? So when you're on camera, there's no glare.
This works. Okay.
I'm gonna be re-sleeving my currently my favorite commander deck is in these like really messed up, like they're not all cut the same.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, so I need a... I'm going to get some sleeves for that. Hopefully with the moving of our commander knight, I'll be able to play it again. All right. Evan opting on his first turn. And Eric with the tapped Guildgate. Is that the Guildgate? Or is that the new Forge?
It's a Foundry.
Foundry. Whatever, Foundry Forge.
The Sacred Foundry.
So sacred.
We've got a knight.
Good night. No glare ever, and just feels soft and smooth. Beautiful. What a ringing endorsement for sleeves. Who's the manufacturer on those?
Well, the Eclipse shields are double matte, so I think that's what he's talking about. Unless there's a KMC double matte now.
Love the Eclipse for limited decks. Not so much on my full decks. I'm going to put my next commander deck in some Eclipses.
Yeah?
Here's the history of Benalia.
This card is a
Knight
house.
incoming. So against a deck like Wizards, it's going to be great because Wizards is one for one-ing. You know, it's one spell, one counter spell, one creature, one removal spell.
Mm-hmm.
And history generates a lot of creatures, so you know he's going to either require to play his own guy, maybe that can block, maybe an Enigma Drake or something like that.
Not a wizard.
Not a wizard, but it's an Izzet card.
Sure.
That could be played in this deck that has a lot of spells in it already.
3 spells in the yard.
3 spells in the yard would be a 3/4 for 3 with flying.
Yikes.
That's a rate right there.
That's a rate.
But no, he
drop.
passes the turn. Eric a little out of order on his Saga trigger, but that's okay.
For 2? Yeah, I'm at
2 damage.
Setting 2. It looks like we'll have a Resplendent Angel to join.
There you go.
Kill it with lightning.
Get it dead.
Oh, the Legion double matte alchemy sleeves.
if you want to take a gander. I'll take a goose,
Trigger.
but if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Got him.
Got him.
We got some 4-3 Vigilant Knights get Evan here.
Here's 8,
4.
bringing Evan's life total down to
4 each, right? 4 each. Okay.
10. Well, he's considering some removal.
All wizards like 1.
All right, he's going to remove one of them. So he's just going to take the 4 to 14.
Still a rough place to be, and Erik's got another creature here, another Resplendent Angel.
Yep, more resplendentness. Good sequencing from Erik. With attacking first, putting Evan to the decision, and then casting the creature.
Yeah, we don't see that as much anymore. I mean, we see it on like a high level, but around here, I think people have gotten a little bit lax on that.
A little sloppy.
A little sloppy.
I find sequencing is
Man, here's a Lyra.
it's one of the best places to gain advantage when you're learning when you're moving up from like, okay, I know what my deck does, to how does my deck interact with another deck.
Yep.
I feel like those are levels of becoming better at Magic, and I think sequencing is step 1 in figuring out how your deck interacts with another deck.
Here's the Flame of Keld, discarding a risk factor. Those 2 cards work out pretty well with each other.
Yep.
That's all I want to do. Go ahead.
But I don't know that Evan's going to be able to reap the rewards from it.
Evan sequencing, doing the right thing on his Flame of Keld, drawing the card first and then flipping the flame. Let's see if he can come up with answers to the questions.
Lyra requires a very specific answer, so we're going to be looking for a fight with fire here.
Yep, so he needs to play a land, play Fight with Fire, and then play some sort of shock. I guess the knight could live to fight another day, but Evan does not have that. He's going to scoop him up.
Scooping him.
Not the best start for him.
Didn't see any wizards.
And the Boros Angels came in hot.
Did they? Hot?
Well,
Hot?
once he hit 3 land,
That's true.
he cast a rare or mythic every turn.
Yeah. It's
It might have
pretty
been 3 mythics. It was History of Benalia, Resplendent Angel, Lyra.
Yeah.
So
All the way up.
all the way up on mythics.
Yeah, Evan, I don't know how many wizards are in here, but the risk factor Flame of Keld works out together in multiple ways. If I'm playing one, I'd probably want some number of the other, but that would also preclude me from playing Experimental Frenzy, which I don't think that's the right decision.
Yeah, so Evan, it looks like he's sideboarding out these Flame of Kelds.
Yeah.
Which is a move I agree with. It's an assigning of roles issue here. He has to understand that he's the one who has to answer all these threats. The Boros Angels deck is just a threat-dense conglomeration of angels and burn spells.
I think we've got Experimental Frenzies coming in.
Okay, so he's shifting gears. Do you like risk factor with Experimental Frenzy since you can cast it out of the graveyard?
No, because you can't cast spells from your hand with
Oh,
Experimental
so
Frenzy.
the 4 cards that come into your hand, or whatever, 3 cards.
Yeah, so it's
Don't do anything.
suboptimal in that regard, but it still plays pretty well because if you're playing Experimental Frenzy, you're pretty much guaranteed to hit a land a turn. So you ramp up your mana pretty quickly while controlling the board, and then you can just blow it up when you've got a couple risk factors that have given you a pretty full hand. So
I'm
it's
wondering, the more I like think about Experimental Frenzy, the more I think about like how good could it possibly be? Like, one of the dominant decks in Standard be the Experimental Frenzy deck?
could.
forever. You know, like until it rotates, obviously.
Yeah, it could very well be. I think that is the mono red card engine that we're going to see
Yeah.
going forward, and I think mono red's going to have a place in the standard for a while.
Yeah. The mono red deck last time around with Hazard was amazing. So if Experimental Frenzy is anything like that kind of dominance,
I did see some SCG coverage this weekend. Every time I turned it on, I would stick around if they were showing standard. Wasn't really interested in the Legacy or Modern that they were showing most of the time, so saw a couple matches. Yeah, Steamkin lets Frenzy go nuts. Just Steamkin in general is insane.
is Steamkin the 08? Is that the card we're talking about?
No, the 1/1 that gets +1/+1 when you cast a red spell, a +1/+1 counter, and then you can remove the counters for red to keep casting spells off the top.
Had that one in draft online. I just forgot the other.
It's Runaway Steamkin.
Oh, it's a runaway Steamkin.
Yeah. It's another very good card out of the new set. Mono red or the red black decks that were so dominant in the last format lost a ton. So you had to really build it from the ground up. But Runaway Steamkin's a great place to start.
Agreed.
A lot of the mono red decks are kind of forced to play the one drop wizard, whatever it is, which I'm not a huge fan of. But
Get to Lava Runner.
yeah, not really my wheelhouse.
No?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
Still like the Chain Whirler.
Chain Whirler's always going to be strong.
Always.
Always. I mean, I'd play that guy in Modern.
Chain Whirler?
Yeah, I'd play a couple of them in Modern.
I think you're going a little bit over.
You think I'm overselling him?
Yeah.
All right.
Wonder if Frenzy will find a place in a Goblins Modern deck.
So
Yeah.
you can fetch or reset the top of your deck. So I would, if somebody handed it to me, I would love to play Frenzy in a Modern Burn deck.
Sure. You typically don't want to get to 4 mana, but I mean, if you do, then
So you don't want to get to 4 mana, but it happens.
yeah.
I wouldn't play 4 of them. I'd play 2.
Okay, very responsible of you. All right, Eric with the double plains mono 3 and 4 drop hand.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, none of those are red. I wonder if you have to make a choice when you're building a Boros Angels deck between playing Resplendent Angel versus playing Rekindling Phoenix. Probably.
They're at different
Oh, here we go.
points of the curve.
Right, but it's
You're
double white
like
versus
double
red.
Yeah.
You're already playing history in this deck, so I guess it makes sense.
I don't see a ton of 1-drops. So you could probably play 2 Boros Garrison. Or Boros... Is it Boros Guildgate? I don't know why I said Garrison.
Yes, Phoenix is not an angel, but it is a very good card.
Yeah, so it gets you a little bit off of the tribal theme, but then you don't care.
Yeah.
You could also cut planes for unclaimed shores.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Not on board with that one.
I'm gonna figure out how to play unclaimed shores in this standard environment as mana fixing. So he 3 damages Eric, making the Steamkin bigger.
No, he's getting rid of the creature. Getting in for 3.
Oh, I thought the Steamkin got blocked by the first striker,
Might have.
and then it took down the.
Yeah,
hits
it looks
Eric
like
for 3 and took down the.
something happened.
It's the same outcome.
All right, bolted face.
Yeah, so it's the same outcome, and Eric takes 3 and the creature is dead. What happened there was the sequencing is weird and it lets your opponent respond.
Right, I
So-
don't like that.
Right. So if you just kill the creature and move on with your life, That's where you want to be.
Then,
It's probably the better play.
it'll be your go. Okay. Trigger.
So you can play double red and double white, but like the mana gets tough. It seems like it's fine, but to reliably cast like a Rekindling Phoenix, you probably want at least 13 red sources, maybe 16.
Yeah, so the deck is much worse if you don't hit a drop every turn. Like it's very dependent on that.
Right.
So, while you could put all these cards in a deck and
Here's
cast them
Aurelia.
eventually,
Yowza, this card is good. Let's pull up some Aurelia action here.
Auer. I had the hardest time learning how to spell her name.
Risk factor. I'll take
Aurelia is, nope.
Here we go. Exemplar of Justice.
it's gonna be.
This card's a house. We've got a 2/5 Mentor. In the beginning of combat, you can choose up to one target creature you control, and it gets Trample if it's red, Vigilance if it's white, +2/+0.
So it's a 4/5. It's basically a 4/5 because it's gonna, probably target itself is the best target. And that way it gets to mentor something all the way down to 3 power.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Okay.
Out of all the mechanics in Guilds of Ravnica, I think Mentor, they did the best job with Mentor. I think
The best job with Mentor? I think Mentor is the most clunky of the abilities.
You think?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it gives you a layer on your combat step
Yep.
of decision making, but
Let's opt
unless like you've got like pump spells or ways to manipulate the power of your creatures, there's not a whole lot of play to it. It's like a litmus test. Like, can I mentor or can I not mentor?
Yeah, so I think, but then in your limited deck building, it changes the value of a pump spell.
Sure.
So that in that manner, you create something that has a lot of texture to it. Like Undergrowth, for example, is just cut and dry. It just is what it is.
Yeah, I think Undergrowth is probably the worst of the mechanics.
Surveil is overpowered.
Yeah, Surveil's great.
I mean, it's a very good mechanic, but it's overpowered in general.
Okay.
I mean, compared to the other mechanics, yeah.
It's the best of the mechanics.
Yep. Convoke is what it is.
It is what it is.
They are who they thought who we thought they were.
Go to combat. Give Aurelia the trigger.
And I just think Mentor is just like the most interesting.
Vigilance and trample. Okay. 4 in the air. Sure. I'm at 16. Okay.
Okay.
After combat.
Jumpstart is the last one that we haven't discussed.
I think Jumpstart's really
I'm gonna
cool.
respond.
Jumpstart's cool. Jumpstart's probably competing with Mentor in my mind. All right. So Evan's on a decision here. He can remove these counters to make mana in response to this Shalai. Oh no. He's gonna.
We're jumpstarting.
We're jump starting. So now Erik has the decision of taking 4 damage or giving Evan cards. Being only at 8, it's a real decision.
Absolutely.
Guy gets his counter back.
Yeah, it seems kid's not going to be getting in anytime soon, but
Go ahead. Draw 3. Draw 3. Yeah.
just give him the draw. That is dangerous.
So Evan drew 6 damage worth of burn spells. So here's what I would do. I would play my land and attack. So if he could,
Aurelia's a 2/5.
oh yeah, I guess you're not getting anywhere
Hexproof.
and you have to target Shalai. Shalai's basically a lightning rod if it were.
Yeah. I'll pay 2
We're going to take the 2 here.
And I would pass. So if Erik were to attack, Aurelia stays untapped, but he would be able to attack back after burning Erik for 3, putting him to 5.
Combat.
Interesting. This is very close.
Before combat. Well, my main phase.
It's a lot closer than it
Definitely
looks.
both modes.
Clarion Ultimatum, is that what we have here?
Deafening Clarion.
Deafening Clarion.
A little bit less powerful than Clarion Ultimatum, but very strong card.
And probably a little more powerful than
The
Clarion
Clarion
Ultimatum.
Ultimatum was very good. I mean, it was way more expensive, obviously, and incredibly difficult to cast. But
Yeah.
can't argue with the card's power. All right, so now Evan is forced into a position where he can send a couple burn spells at this Shalai to kill it.
Oh, wait a minute. Does he have 2 Lightning Strikes in hand? So if he has 2 Lightning Strikes and a Wizard's Lightning, he can cast all of them because of the kin.
Well, I don't think he wants to because he wants the Runaway Steamkin to survive.
No, he gets to kill Erik.
Well, Erik has hexproof.
Does Shalai give Erik Hexproof too?
Yeah.
That card is stupid.
It was used in some mid-range decks to shut down Seven
You,
Wreckage.
planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control. Holy
Trigger on Aurelia.
shnikes.
Plus, yeah, but you have. But
Still would have cast some burn spells.
So, yeah, so you're attacking with both?
yeah. So
Okay, before damage, I'm gonna Lightning Strike Shalai,
yes.
and then, so that'll kill her, and then Lightning Strike Aurelia.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Letting the Clarion resolve lets him wipe his board.
Go ahead.
Oh, jeez, nice. All right, so play your land. Wizard's Lightning him. Play your Flame of Keld. Pass.
I think he's got an Experimental Frenzy, which is probably a higher priority on an empty board.
Sure.
Play Experimental Frenzy.
There it is.
Suspends the...
Land for turn. Then there you go.
All right, here we go.
So Experimental Frenzy lets him.
Play cards from the top of his library, but not his hand.
Right. So these cards are now stranded. And he can look. It's not like Future Sight where he has to play it with it revealed.
Here we go. Can't play cards from your hand. You can play cards from the top of your library, and you can look at the top of your library at any time. But those cards that you draw are super dead.
Can't play cards from your hand.
DED dead.
You can pay for it to destroy the Experimental Frenzy. I'm guessing he has another land on top.
He's going to double check.
How many lands in a row can be on top?
So here's the thing. If he would have taken the other line, he gives himself like
Deafening Clarion.
a ton of outs.
Okay. I will get a combat.
And giving this Aurelia lifelink.
Yeah, that's huge.
Go ahead.
Huge. Yeah, man, just start flipping them over. Give him the business.
Runaway Steamkin.
Uh-oh. This is the combination.
Land for turn.
There's a land for turn.
Did he brick again? So he's got Flame of Keld, 3 lands,
Go ahead.
and a Wizard's Lightning in hand.
Yeah, I mean, breaking 2 times in a row is just brutal.
Sure.
Yeah, dead.
4 in the air.
Yep, I'm at 6.
Go ahead.
I don't know how many lands he's playing. I imagine a red deck that's trying to Experimental Frenzy is playing 20 to 22. If I have 2 colors, you kind of have to increase the land count.
Mm-hmm.
So 24.
Here's another Steamkin.
This is tapped.
Another Steamkin.
Runaway Steamkin.
Okay.
Let's go.
E2 lava run.
I want him to just start face-upping these cards. Just
You'll be a 2/2.
Yeah, we've got a wizard. That counter's on the wrong thing. There we go. Wizard's good because it means Wizard's Lightning gets the discount.
Yep. That's not a spell he can cast. Man, this Experimental Frenzy is annoying me.
Why?
Because 3 turns in a row now, he's gotten... So he got 2 spells that turn. He got 1 spell the turn before. And I think 0 spells the turn before that.
Yeah. A lot of lands.
So he's hit 3 land drops. That's a positive upside, I guess.
Swing for 4.
Yeah, Evan's gonna go to 2. There's not a lot of responses to be had here.
Exile the Steamkin. That's all you can do.
And he's gonna. I feel like he needs to exile the Experimental Frenzy.
Go ahead.
Well, so he knows what he's going to draw if he does that, and it's just going to be a land. And he's at 2, so he's got to take the chance at this point.
All right,
E2 lava run.
Yeah.
runner. All right, organizing.
Yeah, you just got to start flipping them at this point.
Shock the Angel.
Sure.
Yeah, you're not going to get to 12 in all likelihood.
Land for turn. Okay, so we got Wizard's Lightning. I mean, you can't be seriously playing Wizard's Retort. So he's got to have he does have a Wizard's Lightning in hand, so he can destroy the Frenzy, and then cast the Wizard's Lightning on the Angel to kill it, getting in for 4.
Yeah.
So like, if that card's a land, I think that's what he has to do. He goes to 8. He gets to cast like all the stuff in his hand.
Risk factor.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything.
So he should have looked at the top card with the risk factor to see if he could cast it in response.
Steamkin.
Sure.
Okay, so the risk factor just dug him deeper into his deck,
Yeah.
but my line just lets him live another turn.
Right. So I agree with the risk factor here because it gets him. He gets to look at the card with risk factor on the stack,
Okay.
and then after risk factor
Don't
resolves.
forget,
So
when
if
you're
he
playing Experimental
goes
Frenzy, you still have to
with he gets 2 shots at the burn spell,
I was at
and then
7.
next turn he can just
I
blow
would've
up
had
the
to
risk factor, and he has
Okay.
or the experimental frenzy, and he has all his cards in his hand.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate that he bricked so many times there with the experimental frenzy in play.